Sup, y'all? It's Emma, the heavy metal lawyer, and because my best received videos have been my ones on the metal albums that came out in 2021, I decided to do more videos on metal coming out, new metal coming out, so y'all wouldn't have to wait until the end of the year to get a big ol' list of fresh metal for you to check out. This one is going to be on the first 10 metal albums that have come out this year that I think have a chance of ending up on my list for the best metal albums of 2022. And without further ado, let's get into it. So far, 2022 is once again favoring black metal with some of the best releases the genre has ever seen, though of course winter is decidedly their month, so the rest of the year may shift that balance. And there's also been some amazing death metal from familiar favorites as well as newcomers, from the snow-capped peaks of the Andes to the beautiful blue Bosporus Strait. First up at number 10 is Reflection of Distant Dreams, the death metal debut of Chilean Halux Valgus. Expressly autopsy worship, and they have the chops to make that comparison legitimate. At number 9, we have Turkish band Vile Hand with their album Let Them Die. This is riff-driven death metal, very catchy melodies, though this is definitely not melodic death metal, more melodic in the sense of Swedish death metal like Entombed. At number 8, we have Order of Chaos by Descent. I was looking forward to this album since the single Resolve dropped last year, and it did not disappoint. If you're a fan of extreme metal that borrows from a little bit from a bunch of different subgenres, think bands like Trap Them, you'll have a lot of fun with this album. At number 7, we have the wonderfully weird Douchefang by Pensée Nocturne. Real Carnival of Nightmares. This is black metal mixed with accordion, heavy cabaret music, like the soundtrack to a burlesque show in hell. A very, very French hell. Then at number 6, we got Erebos by Venom Prison. Weavers of death metal and hardcore are not afraid to branch out even more from their already unorthodox takes on those genres on this album, while still remaining heavy and ferocious. It's still coming off to me more as a collection of good songs rather than an interconnected album, but they are really, really good songs, so there's a high chance that that's enough to get them onto the top 10 for this year. And at number 5, of course you knew I had to put the mini album by one of my favorite bands of all time, grindcore legends Napalm Death, with their mini album Resentment Is Always Seismic. If you didn't get the hint from the term mini album, this is hardly the epic undertaking the band has done with albums like Utilitarian, but the band also followed through on the hints of exploring a newer, slower sounds that you heard on their most recent album, Throes of Joy and the Jaws of Defeatism. Napalm Death has also always been very fond of doing cover songs, and this release features 2 great ones. The second of which is Don't Need It by Bad Brains, which Napalm Death impressively incorporates into their own style while still staying true to the red-hot urgency and guitar slinging via Bad Brains' amazing guitarist, Dr. No. It's great, check it out. Another debut album, and this one is dripping with new wave of British heavy metal nostalgia. At number 4, the self-titled album Maul by Maul. Modern metal musicianship employed to summon the sounds of melodic speedsters like Judas Priest and Nightwing and Legend, and so on. Great songs to sing along to from front to back, though special recognition to this track Summoner with its extremely infectious chorus, Summon me from hell. And really can't talk enough about the musicianship on this album. Not a note out of place, some excellent shredding and guitar solos, standout bass lines, and kick-ass drumming. I really love modern bands that can bring that kind of caliber of playing to the new wave of British heavy metal sound. I haven't heard something this good in that vein since Vulture came out of Richmond, and I can't wait to see what Maul does in the future. One thing I hope for this year is that the Indonesian black metal scene blows up, particularly because veteran one-man black metal project Pure Wrath has earned it with their new album, Hymn to the Woeful Hearts. This is about as close to a perfect atmospheric black metal album with symphonic leanings. Folks, there is cello on this album. This is not the cold, empty black metal of the North, though it is certainly dark like its frostbitten cousins. Instead, this album has a distinct feel of fire, and whoever did the album cover seems to agree with me. And here is the vinyl for this one. It actually came early, which hasn't happened in a long time, as my fellow vinyl collectors can attest to. We've had lots of problems with the vinyl supply chain, so it's great that it actually came early. It has this insert with this great picture of Genuaro Hardy, the guy behind Pure Wrath, and a lyric sheet on the back. Lyrics are pretty typical, poetic black metal, talking about all sorts of spirits and winds full of ash and burning sunbeams upon the open wounds. And the you gotta see the vinyl, colored vinyl I've seen in a long time. Isn't that great? So cool. So cool. That could be like a whole bit like Valley Girl, black metal, like Valley Girl, really pretentious, true cult black metal fan. Anyways, speaking of bands coming into their own this year, at number 2, holy shit, let's talk about There's Always Blood at the End of the Road by Wishdood. If Oranssi Pazuzu is black metal on acid, Wishdood's new sound is black metal on angel dust. The music is extremely disturbing, and the cockroach swarming music video that accompanied it makes it all the more disturbing. The guitar work on this one straight up reminds me of intense jazz saxophone like Coltrane or Ornette Coleman. It's just all over the place, very virtuosic. But don't worry, black metal purists, there's plenty of tremolo picking to sate your appetite. The album explores whole new directions for Wishdood, who I found this band by way of Oathbreaker. Someone told me, oh, if you like Oathbreaker, you should check out these guys. And they do very much have that kind of sense of combining the sort of balls to the wall, chaotic hardcore with black metal music. But they were much more atmospheric in their previous releases, but I think this sound works way better for them. It makes them stand out way more, and this is definitely going to be in the best metal albums of the year. I can't stop listening to it. I can't stop watching the fucking cockroach music video, even though it makes me want to puke. And last, but never least, at number 1, and likely candidate already for number 1 metal album of 2022, folks, it is Zeal and Ardor with a self-titled album, Zeal and Ardor. Self-titled albums are generally of 2 types: debut albums like the Maul album earlier in this video, and albums that are a culmination of the band's development. And this is definitely the latter. Every track on this album is great, but the best is obviously Gata Damarang. showing that I am not the only metalhead who appreciates the works of Wagner. And yes, I have referenced Wagner again, but this time it's not my fault. I had to. Zeal and Ardor referenced him first. Götterdämmerung is the last cycle in Wagner's opera epic, The Ring Cycle. And funny thing about Götterdämmerung in the context of metal music, the vocal part for the villain Hagen, who kills the hero Siegfried, requires a shouting, blaring bass singing that damages a singer's voice. So a lot of singers don't like to do that part, similar to how most types of metal screaming damage your voice. And don't jump into my comments and say that if you're screaming the right way, it's not going to damage your voice. You can certainly mitigate the damage, but there is no way to do things like pig squeals or black metal howls without shredding your vocal cords to a certain degree. Anyways, a lot more to say about this album, but I'll leave that for the year-end roundup. I don't want to spoil things for you. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe and comment and let me know what your top metal releases of the year have been so far. If you think I'm missing anything, I haven't listened to the new Abysmal Dawn yet. So if you think I'm just a total asshole for not talking about the new Abysmal Dawn, you come and call me an asshole in the comments, please.